Hi, it's Professor Moylan, and this is an overview to instructional media. We've been talking about our online teaching trilogy several times, our learning management system, Blackboard, Canvas, Moodle, our video conferencing tool, WebEx, Zoom, and instructional media. Sometimes I'm calling it instructional video, sometimes I'm calling it instructional media, but that's what takes center stage here in section 4. And again, instructional media, use video if they need to see it, use audio if they don't need to see it. Now, that sounds kind of obvious. Of course, that's obvious, but a lot of times people just always go to instructional video, instructional video, instructional video. I want to put in a plug for audio. In my opinion, it's underutilized because there are some components of instruction that they don't need to see. Your speaking voice, your audio is good enough. And actually, if that's the case, sometimes audio is a better choice. So when I'm done talking about all of your instructional video options, I'm going to talk about audio for a second. Okay, now you have lots and lots and lots of options for creating instructional videos. And what you want to do is figure out which one or maybe which two you want to use. And then focus on those, of course. But there are lots of options. And so I have created separate standalone videos for your major options. You definitely want to look at using PowerPoint as a source of your instructional videos. Now, after that, here's where it gets into the situation where maybe you want to, maybe you don't. I've got an instructional video on Panopto. And again, I'll go through each of these differences in just a second. I've got an instructional video on Canvas Studio, Adobe Presenter. That's what I'm creating this video in. Cisco WebEx, just Zoom. And of course, the question for you is, which one do you want to use? And of course, to answer that, first off, what do you have? Because you want to use what you have. What do you want to show on screen in your instructional video? Is it just PowerPoint? Or is it something else, whatever is on your screen, whether that's Excel or QuickBooks, or whatever. Okay, now here are the pros and cons of your options. PowerPoint. It's good. It's not perfect. There are some limitations, but it's good. And you've got it. It's easy. It's easy, but it only records PowerPoint. So it doesn't record Excel, it doesn't record QuickBooks or anything else. However, we've got a little workaround on that. And I'll show you what that is in just a second, how I sometimes use PowerPoint to show students things that are in Excel. Now, Adobe Presenter, in my opinion, this is the best program. But you got to pay for it. It's $15 a month now, although there is a free 30-day trial. And if you wanted to just work like crazy to get all your instructional videos cranked out, you can probably do it all for free with Adobe Presenter on the free 30-day trial, although they put a little watermark at the front that clearly shows that, hey, you're using the trial version. But for your academic purposes, that probably isn't, much of a problem. In fact, I did that when I flipped my Intro to Business class back in 2012, and I liked the product so much I went ahead and bought it. And of course, that's why they give you the free 30-day trial, because they think that you will like the product. But there is a learning curve here. So unless you're serious about using instructional video in the future, you might not want to bother with that learning curve. But if you do think, hey, the situation in higher education has changed and it is changed forever, and I think I need to utilize instructional video in the future, well past crisis mode of fall 2020, Adobe Presenter might be worth taking a look at. Okay, Panopto. Panopto is very good. And you may have it because it is bundled with learning management systems sometimes. This was designed for education. It came out of Carnegie Mellon. A couple of Carnegie Mellon computer science professors entrepreneurs spun this out of Carnegie Mellon. So many things have come out of Stanford, out in Silicon Valley, Google, and such. But, here's one from the East Coast. So Panopto came out of Carnegie Mellon, and it is pretty darn easy. So, those are all, if you've got it, it definitely makes sense to go for this. It's good. It's easy. It's education focused. It was education focused from the get-go. Studio. Okay, only if you have Canvas. If you don't have Canvas as your LMS, you don't have Studio. But if you have Canvas, you have it, and it's very good, and it's very easy. So Canvas people, you definitely want to look into Studio. Now, your video conferencing tool, whether it's WebEx or Zoom, the term screen capture is the same thing as share screen and record. So there are all of these screen capture software programs out there. Well, WebEx, Zoom, they can work as a de facto screen capture software program because one thing that you can do with both of those is share screen and then just record your session. So it's very, very easy. So it is, in my opinion, good for non-PowerPoint lectures if you don't want to use something else. But here's the downside. It's a little less professional looking. It's a little bit clunky, especially when you want to stop. You're done sharing your screen, and then so you have to say, okay, let me stop sharing my screen, and let me go find the button to turn this thing off. So it is a little bit less professional there. There are other screen capture software programs that are great. You may have heard of them: Debut, Snagit, Camtasia. But you don't want to take the time, and you don't want to pay the money, so you're going to leave those by the wayside for now. So here is my recommendation, and this is in order. Use Adobe Presenter if you have it, or if you think it might make sense for you to take a look at, getting it for $15 a month. Use Panopto or Studio if you have it. Use PowerPoint. You have it, and it's very, very easy. And then lastly, use WebEx or Zoom. So you've got lots and lots of choices for instructional video. Don't forget you've got another instructional medium, audio. Audio can be a great choice. Do students need to see it? If they don't, audio might be the way to go, and here's why. It is easier for you to record, and it's often easier for your students to consume. Now, what would be examples of things that might be a good fit with instructional audio? In my Principles of Marketing class, I recorded all of the chapter key terms. Students don't need to be seeing anything. I'll say segmentation, and then I'll give a description of the definition of segmentation. And one thing that my students have given me feedback on is they listen to those key terms audios over and over and over again until they absolutely have memorized those terms. And that makes the other instruction, go much, much smoother. Breaking news that you want to get to your students right away. Here's something that happened to me very, very serendipitously, but we had a class session on digital marketing. And a couple of days later, there was an article in the Wall Street Journal how this hip-hop artist used digital marketing very adroitly to sell a whole bunch of music. And so I thought, well, I'd never heard of this hip-hop artist, but I'm sure most of my students have. And so as I was driving to campus that morning, I just took my little Sony audio recorder and dictated. It was only about 10 minutes or so, but I basically retold the story that I just read in the Wall Street Journal that morning. And then as soon as I got into my office on campus, I plugged my Sony audio recorder into my computer, downloaded the file, put it up to my learning management site, and sent an email to all the students saying, hey, this is an addendum to what we talked about a couple days ago on digital marketing. That proved to be, that's a picture of the Sony audio recorder product that I bought a few years ago. That proved to be some of the best money ever spent. I think it was like $45 or so. And look how easy it is to use. You want to talk, you push the record button. You want to stop, you hit the stop button, and you see it's got a USB port. So when you get to your computer, you just plug that into your computer and upload the file. It's already an MP4 file. It could not be simpler. Or if you just want to record at your desk, I would strongly advise that you download this great software program, Audacity. It's completely free. And so I put a short instructional video up on downloading and using Audacity. This is just the overview for instructional media. So for further consideration, all the separate standalone videos, go ahead and check those out.